On InCycle this week, we look back at a monumental 99th Giro d'Italia.
My season is full of goals still, and of course I'm not happy to pull out of the Giro with a red jersey.
The Maglia Nera is a lesser-known award to the Giro, but it's still one that the riders go to great lengths to claim.
I didn't see him, but then the car behind me told that he was hiding behind a fence. So I just stopped in the middle of the road.
But first, it's time to go behind the scenes in Italy. In this week's lead out, we get the inside scoop on breakaways, grey hair, and another Grand Tour. But first, Martin Cilenc'i finished his last ever Giro in style.
So Martin Cilenc'i, you started the Giro out the front and you ended it out the front.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I want to show people that you know I do my life. I want to be in the front, use the front door and also the front door to go out. And this winter I've been working really hard to get it into shape and to get my my act together, to show one last time that I belong in this circuit, and show people that yeah, I'm the rider with passion and fun in riding races, and this is the way I show it.
And I'm guessing that everyone got a good sight of you on that finishing circuit.
Yeah, there was also an idea, of course. You know, it's not. It started as a little joke with Jos yesterday. To shall we do it? Yes, of course we shall do it. You know, and then my wife said she's there. She said, yeah, well, I'll be at that point. And then every time I passed there, I was like smiling, or at least try to smile, because it was pretty hard.
To celebrate Bob Jungels' young rider's white jersey, Ethics Quick-Step DS Davide Bramati decided to spray his hair the same colour.
2 days ago in the bus, Alessandro with the mechanic, with the spray, did my hair white. And maybe we will do again before the podium today in Turin.
And why did you go for white and not a good Ethics blue?
Because we won white jersey with the Bob Jungels, and everybody knows we won also 4 stages. We are very happy. We did incredible Tour d'Italy. For this will be funny podium today in Turin for the team.
And Lotto Soudal's Adam Hansen kept his record-breaking Grand Tour run going strong with another one ticked off.
So Adam, another Grand Tour done. I've lost count of how many this is now.
It's about 14 in a row, so it's pretty good. So I'm happy to finish, happy to survive, happy not to crash out or get sick, so it's good.
And already planning the Tour this year?
For sure. That's where I would want to do really well in this year. It's my main goal for the season, so I hope for a good Tour de France.
For the 99th edition of the Giro d'Italia, the fight for pink reached a whole new level of meaning. Over 3 weeks of compelling racing, the Maglia Rosa would change hands a staggering 9 times as the Corsa Rosa weaved its way through stunning Italy. But first, there was the small matter of the Grande Partenza in the Netherlands, and a memorable one it turned out to be. Whilst the list of GC contenders at the start in Apeldoorn may have been long, the opening time trial was short. Over 9.8 kilometres, an expectant Dutch crowd demanded a home victor. And one did deliver, but only just.
Let's watch that clock tick over. I don't know, it's going to be close. How far is he from the finish line? He's only got a handful of seconds to spare. Maybe that time of Roglic is going to be good enough after all. As he stops the clock at 11:03, it's down to split seconds. That was as tight as you like, but it doesn't matter. It's the fastest time.
As Tom Dumoulin became the first wearer of the pink jersey, he simultaneously launched what for him would turn out to be a turbulent race. For the next 2 days, Dumoulin and his compatriots could at least savour the feverish support that lined the roads.
Ik weet niet of het voor Nederland belangrijk is, maar voor ons is het wel heel gaaf.
We race all over the world,
Dat we kunnen meemaken.
and now we can finally show Holland how professional we are at home in our
Er
sport.
heel veel wedstrijden overal ter wereld.
How cool is it to hear that appreciation from the crowds?
Het publiek laten zien hoe wij met onze sport bezig zijn. En ja, weet
It's
je,
been a really incredible
dan
experience.
ook te horen dat het gewaardeerd wordt door al die mensen die hier staan. Dat is echt super gaaf.
For the time being, Martin Cilengi and the rest of the peloton can only sit back and watch Marcel Kittel deliver a sprinting masterclass. Cleaning up on the two flat stages, the German nudged his way into the pink jersey just as the Giro d'Italia headed for home.
I'm very, very proud that I can say now that I was able to wear it for one day. It's history, not only of the Giro d'Italia but also of cycling in general. And yeah, it's great that I could experience that.
With the race back safely on Italian soil, it was a Tuscan who would reignite the race. Diego Ulissi punching his way to a fifth Giro victory and the first of his two-stage wins. As Kittel lost pink to the resurgent Dumoulin, he'd soon lost his sprint dominance too as the gorilla started to beat his chest. Andre Greipel looking as strong as ever on the ramp into Benevento. It would mark the first of a hat-trick of wins for Lotto Soudal as the next day the immense talent of Tim Wellens sensed an opportunity.
Now the next man to go is Tim Wellens from Lotto Soudal. If that was a bluff, it had me fooled and it had everyone else fooled, wouldn't it?
With the Corsa Rosa entering Tuscany, Italian inspiration came in the form of Gianluca Brambilla, soloing his way to a stage win and the lead in his favourite race.
Actually, I was not thinking about Maglia Rosa. I was just thinking what I did and what I realized because it was a really long and hard day. Maglia Rosa was just a consequence and arrive after the victory of the stage.
Many had pegged Stage 9's rolling time trial through the Chianti region to redefine the complexion of the race. The challenging course and weather did serve up some surprises. Katusha's Ilna Zakharin worst affected. Brambilla, however, flew under the radar to hold on to pink. In Stage 10, Bardiani CSF's Giulio Ciccione held his nerve on the descent whilst others struggled. Meanwhile, behind him, an attack from Movistar's Andre Amador proved fruitless. The lead would, however, change hands, but only between teammates, as Bob Jungels became the first Luxembourger since Charlie Gall in 1959 to wear pink. By this point, the Giro had already claimed its first victims. Mikel Landa ground to an illness-induced standstill that same day as the race lost one of its main contenders. A day later, Tom Dumoulin succumbed to the pain of saddle sores, his week in pink a distant memory. And two other key protagonists made more dignified exits. Both Kittel and Greipel bid their farewells, the latter doing so in style.
My season is full of goals still, and of course I'm not happy to pull out of the Giro with a red jersey. But the team and myself, we made the decision to go home, to leave the Giro today and prepare for the upcoming goals.
With the sprinters' fun over for the time being and the Dolomites looming, the battle at the top of the Giro d'Italia was just beginning. By stage 14 of the 99th edition of the Giro d'Italia, the first major general classification shake-up had still to take place. It would take the Queen stage, 210 kilometres of high-altitude hell, to spark the battle for the pink jersey. With it now on the shoulders of Costa Rica's Andre Amador, it was time for pre-race favourite Vincenzo Nibali to launch his first proper assault of the Giro.
He had a little look at Scarponi. Scarponi gave him the wink and said, I'm off, it's up to you. And now the team leader makes his big attack.
But it would only mark the beginning of a 48 hours to forget for the Shark, as Stefan Kruijswijk and Esteban Chavez followed, and they soon had him up against the ropes. The end result, a win for Colombia and another pink jersey for the Netherlands. Stage 15 was a mountain time trial up to Alpe di Siusi. Nibali wouldn't fare much better as bad luck threatened his Giro challenge.
Vincenzo Nibali has got a mechanical now. He slipped. His chain has slipped. He's just looking down at the mech, and also it's come to a complete halt. He throws his bike away in disgust. Where is the replacement bike for Vincenzo Nibali? Where's his team car? How much time is this costing him?
The answer, a minute and a half to Esteban Chavez and Alejandro Valverde. And worst of all, 2 minutes, 10 seconds to a powerful Stefan Kruijswijk, impressively extending his lead, whilst only being beaten by fractions of a second to the stage win by the unknown wildcard rider Alexander Filiferov. In a breathless stage 16, momentary lapses of concentration put Esteban Chavez under pressure with over half a stage still to ride. Up the road, meanwhile, Alejandro Valverde finally found his legs. As Kruijswijk followed, Nibali soon hit the wall. Eventually caught and passed by a resurgent Chavez, the shark was floundering. Sure enough, Valverde sprinted to his first Giro stage win at the tender age of 36. Settling for second, Kruijswijk was looking impossible to crack and could now look forward to a temporary ceasefire with his nearest rivals. With the Dolomites done and dusted, the likes of Giacomo Nizzolo and the now reduced sprinting field had hoped to resume their battles on stage 17's flatter terrain. Were it not for crowd favourite Pipo Pozzato's burst within the final kilometre and then Roger Kluge's surge, they would have had their day. But it was a timely win for the InCycling man, just a day after the team had announced they would fold at the end of the season. The next day saw Etixx Quick-Step stake their claim as team of this year's Giro. In an exquisitely orchestrated piece of teamwork, the tireless Gianluca Brambilla lured Cannondale's Moreno Moser into a full sense of security as the speedy Matteo Trentin shot up from behind to challenge in the sprint finish. A fourth stage win to celebrate for Etixx, capping off an incredible 3 weeks for the team. Through 5 days in the pink jersey, Stefan Kruijswijk had appeared the Giro champion-elect. All that now stood in his way were 2 final mountain stages, and treacherous ones at that. And all was going to plan until the descent of the Colle dell'Agnello. As Kruijswijk regained his composure, Chavez pushed on, dragging with him Vincenzo Nibali, ready to launch his great comeback. As Nibali took the stage, the seconds slipped away for a battered and bruised Kruijswijk.
Of the overall win have slipped through his fingers, and a brave rearguard action has come to naught.
Chavez had taken pink, but with a lead of just 44 seconds. The shark was beginning to circle. In the final showdown of the Corsa Rossa, the turquoise machine of Astana showed its might. And on the Colle della Lombardia, Nibali was primed to throw his knockout blow. Chavez cracked, Nibali imperious, the Giro was won.
Un campione che si chiama Vincenzo Nibali e che va a conquistare il Giro d'Italia a Sant'Anna di Minardi. Grandissimo Vincenzo.
The man with the weight of expectation of a nation had done it. At the last opportunity, Vincenzo Nibali pulled on the Maglia Rosa with the finish line in Turin in sight. On the Giro's last day, Astana could celebrate, whilst the sprinters did battle for one last time. Nizzolo, stripped of his elusive first Giro stage win by the commissaires, was visibly unhappy when receiving his red jersey for the overall sprint competition. Far happier was Team Sky's Mikel Nieve, having proven a good plan B for the team after seizing the King of the Mountains title. Whilst Bob Jungels added the young rider's white jersey to his breakthrough 6th place. But it was Vincenzo Nibali, a defiant winner for his second victory in his home race, to close a memorable Giro d'Italia.
He used to hide behind a tree and stuff like that. He told me a story once about the barns where they kept hay, you know, for cows to eat, and he hid in one of those. Any kind of excuse or opportunity was allowed, like getting stuck behind a house, a tree, a family, a car, a fountain, a motorbike. Well, maybe it would be a really slow moped rather than a motorbike. But still, it all had to be within the final time limit, or they would throw you out.
It doesn't seem like the typical tale of how a rider came to win a Grand Tour jersey, but this is the story of the Maglia Nera, the black jersey. Many decades ago, it was presented to the cyclist who finished the race in last place, a symbol of overcoming hardship, but in reality, one of cunning. The final recipient of a physical jersey was Giovanni Pinarello in 1951. Even today, without the Maglia itself, the title captures the imagination, and members of the gruppetto go to extraordinary measures to claim it.
I know the story because I'm from Treviso, and so is Pinarello, and the Maglia Nera is legendary. In the penultimate stage of the Giro last year, I stopped not far from the finish line because I wanted to win the Maglia Nera. So I stopped, and I didn't know what the maximum time was, but I wanted to be the last man in within the limit. So I had a chat with some of the fans for a few minutes. Some of them asked me what I was doing because they didn't understand, but I explained it to them.
The other guy was Italian, so for him it was something, I guess so. In the mountain stage he hid it behind the camper, and he thought I didn't see him, so I just kept on pedaling. And then after a corner I just stopped and stood in the, next to the crowd, and then watched him pass again, and then we rode back to the gruppetto, and yeah, we had a laugh about it. And finally at the last K I dropped from the gruppetto. Then he saw that, and he hid it in the deviation, or what's it called, yeah, where the cars go. So I didn't see him, but then the car behind me told that he was hiding behind a fence. So I just stopped in the middle of the road, and then suddenly he came out and he rode to the finish.
It was a small chance at glory for the workers of the peloton and those who have had adversity heaped upon them, as long as they were wily enough to stay within the time limit.
He was a good supporting rider, because remember, he also had to work. You know, when he really had to work, he did. Then when the team captain went ahead and didn't need the support riders anymore, he would fall back to finish as late as possible. Then another time, I'm not sure how or why exactly, but he told me that he had to end up cycling faster than the leaders because he was in danger of missing the cutoff time.
First part I had some little injury, and then when I needed to sprint full gas, one muscle was not cooperating well, so I lost the most of the times in the flat stages. When you're a big guy, the climber, then if you finish, that's an achievement, and it can show that you worked a lot for the team.
I was supporting Giacomo, but then a spectator came out near the finish line, and I fell off my bike and really hurt my right leg. It was giving me a lot of problems, and then I went into the final week with a fever, but my aim was to finish the Giro, because the year before I had barely raced, and it was important for my future.
Despite some old-fashioned guile on the part of Nippo Vinifantini's Riccardo Stacchiotti, this year's Maglia Nera went to Colledan's Trek Segafredo teammate Jack Bowbridge. He may not receive anything more than recognition for his efforts this year, but that could all change in the future.
Yes, 100%. They should do it. I definitely think they should bring it back. It's for people who already know they have no chance of winning. So why not make a competition that makes people famous for coming last? We sponsor the Giro, and I've asked every year on numerous occasions, let's do the Maglia Nera, and I'll sponsor it. But from an international point of view, they can't do it. There are 5 jerseys already, and it would be the 6th, so it's not possible. In 1951, when he rode his last Giro on a Vigorelli in Milan, Manni won. And my dad was wearing the Maglia Nera, riding beside Manni, who was wearing the Maglia Rossa. And the applause was the same for both of them. My father was certainly very proud to wear it.
That's it for this week. Join us next time. But until then, keep up to date with us on social media.